collaboration with Leena Parmar, CEO and founder of Leena Paige. So I want to ask you, a lot of our candidates ask us a lot of questions about what to wear for an interview. It's probably one of the common questions that we get before a candidate is going to an interview. What should they wear? What should the do's and don'ts be of dressing for an interview?
I love that they're still asking you this because some people just don't bother, and then that first impression is lost. So probably one of the first things I'd say is take a look at the culture of the company that you're applying to for a job, because some have a very informal culture, and just in the same way that dressing up can create a smart professional impression, dressing, there is if you get suited and booted in a 3-piece suit, and you're coming to a very informal environment, you're going to walk in the door and they will think you're not a good fit. That's why the nonverbal that walks in the door is so powerful. So I think having a look at the company culture, is it a conservative, financially led environment? Is it a risk-taking, entrepreneurial kind of like hotspot for new ventures? That really is often helpful. But I always say, get up, dress up, put your best foot forward. And so don't worry if you feel like you're going to be a bit too smart, because you'd rather err on the side of being a little bit too smart than coming in a bit sloppy, because then how you look represents how you work.
Yeah.
So all the skills that attract an employer to you, like being confident and being organized, being consistent, being dependable, being reliable, that's wardrobe that I just explained there. So the way you dress communicates how you will work.
Yes.
So employers look for that. And then all the usual things apply. I can't tell you how often we spend time in our corporate company on the handshake. So for example, women on women, thank you, that's awesome. Women on women will do this, and even some men on women will, the weight pressure, the weight letters they are. Men and women equally hate it.
Yeah.
And so, but we still see this, and that right there is a no to people. That's like the first box crossed off.
Yeah.
We are a fickle people sometimes, and it just is what it is, and we live in a very visual world. So the points of contact need to be the basics. The firm handshake, not one of those where you're like breaking my hand, but one of those. And then the eye contact and the smile. I'm someone I have a coach who has taught me to smile, because I'm one of those people, when I get in the zone, then I frown. And as a mom, I have to learn to smile at the same time. So the basic things about personal grooming, it's often the little things. Little things like clean nails. It's shocking how much this still happens, but it's that kind of attention to detail to your personal presentation that recruiters will go, well, if his shoes are not shined, then how's he going to finish on deadline, and so on. And so again, we can be fickle and judgmental, and smart, savvy recruiters will look for those things.
So what should females or males be mindful of when dressing for an interview? Because clearly they're different.
Yes. Well, I have heard some women say and advise their friends to use their female sexual prowess and find out if there are men who are interviewing, and if so, then wear a skirt suit and not a pantsuit, and use your feminine wiles. And I'm 100% against that. I think that's playing with fire. I think that's very dangerous, and it's also not operating out of your personal value system. It's kind of and that's not right or wrong. If that's for someone else and that's how you landed a job, that's great. No judgment from me. All I'm saying is I think you can potentially compromise the hard work that you built up all these years. Your credibility as a professional is what's walking through the door, and I think that should be represented. And women, I've got to say this as well, I am fiercely anti-feminist. I really don't understand the male-female race. I am very anti how women have maybe fought so hard for their voice in the world over the decades, but to the point that actually we don't honor and respect our men. And men equally have not always responded very well to that. So I always say to women, there's no competition. Don't focus on who's earning what. You just focus on you and your career, and the marketplace pays for value. The more value you bring, the smaller you are, the more you grow that company's business, the higher your paycheck. And for men, the same applies. The positive body language, the handshake, all the basics that I know that you train up your clients in terms of asking smart questions. It's gone are the days where the recruiter sits there and asks 9 questions. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah.
What are your strengths? What do you know? The world of opportunity and the working from home and the freelance and entrepreneurial opportunities these days actually has created a very savvy interviewee.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So flipping the tables then, so talking about the interviewer, sometimes they feel that they've got the upper hand because they're the ones who are interviewing the interviewee.
Yeah.
Does it matter what they wear?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
So in the same way, what is the reason that your company would put you forward to do the all-important recruiting of the next employee that they're going to pay a lot of money to, right? So there's a lot of trust invested in you. And just like the person coming in for the opportunity is representing herself or himself, you are the brand that he's going to meet first up. You're the brand that if I'm coming in, I'm seeing whether you're smiling, I'm seeing whether you're well dressed, I'm seeing if you've been here for 4 or 5 years, well, does she look like she has, because I'm looking for the little signals as well, does she look like she is still enjoying what she does? Yeah. And there's a whole vibe that's given off between body language, personal style, so absolutely. Yeah. Once again, the ambassador of the brand needs to be the best dressed at all times.
And I think interviewers sometimes forget that they're also being interviewed.
Yes, absolutely,
You know?
yes.
So,
just what we said, there's a far more savvy interviewee coming for opportunities these days because we've had to grow up a little bit and not just get there and hope that we're the best one out of the lot, you know. So we come in and there's vastly cross-cultural conversations happening on Zoom conference, in person. Sometimes you got to hop a plane and go for a final interview somewhere. A lovely friend of mine recently let me know that we were talking about what to wear for her interview. It's a very financially conservative environment. So she's talking about the color of her suit. She'll be in a management assessment role that really impacts the financial decisions. And so you don't want to come in bold 9-inch heels and bling, you know what I mean? All the basics. Yeah. But the interviewer on the other side as well is actually facing a far more experienced candidate for the role. Yeah. And so I think that it's great for that person to know that you should want to be interviewed. Because it's as much my responsibility to make sure that I'm a fit for your company as yours is vice versa, right? And that's good for both sides.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we teach that to our candidates.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think it's wonderful that you do. And that's one of the things that sets you apart because not all recruitment companies do that. And a lot of companies that I know that I've worked with in the past are okay with their clients having the upper hand and saying, well, you just no, I think it's great that you educate them that way because it makes it plays the longer game. It actually you invest in the longevity of that partnership, which is great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, those skills that we've talked about are all available on Job Domination. The coach that Linda was talking about is my coach also, Danny Johnson, and you can find Job Domination at www.dannyjohnson.com.